I'm answering you. Okay, so this is how to make a Google Gem, custom gem. So I'm going to make three custom gem. One of them is the first one is the hybrid migration architect. So this will be the one to check uh, coming. Yeah. Okay, so I'm creating three custom gems in this Gemini interface. So I already clicked create a gem. So I've pasted this instruction. I pasted this instruction here. Create the system integration architect gem. This is your primary gem for crossbreeding ideas. Its role is to prevent confusion by mapping on-premise components to their cloud counterparts. This is where it's coming from, to bridge your on-premises lab, on-premise lab work and multi-cloud learning. Because what I'm trying to actually do is to use Gem to help me organize my lab work. Okay, as an IT professional who has over 20 years of background in IT, there's a little gap I'm trying to fill up, which is the cloud, the on-premise bridge. Okay, I've had extensive experience in the premises. Also, for some time now, I've been studying and watching videos on the various clouds. Okay, so I determined that the best path to get to where I want to be is to implement those stuff on my system. So I arrange my resources together to be able to meet up with something that I can use to demonstrate an enterprise setup uh, myself, and then use it to demonstrate those capabilities, and then also to upgrade and upskill where I feel that I'm not good enough. So that's what I'm trying to do. Fortunately, at this time, apart from having the technology capability to implement those infrastructure, is also the advantage of the AI prevalence, which gives us access to things that can help us to align in these projects to implement this IT enterprise structure in for myself. Okay, so now what I'm doing now is I'm using this. I'm using Google Gemini to help me to align uh, the project. Okay, so starting with the first one here, it says to bridge your on-premise lab work and multi-cloud learning while maintaining the high authority tone of your video channels. I have a video channels that I used to present for now some things from ancient scriptures that I use technical terms to try to analyze and bring out certain points to people. So I'm trying to also do a video for that involves the things I'm doing in my tech space. As I'm upgrading and upskilling, I want to document those stuff, either for prospective employers, for those who want to learn thereafter, and just for documentation as well. So these are the primary reasons for me taking this step. So it says to bridge your on-premise lab work and multi-cloud learning while maintaining the high authority tone of your video channels, you can create a triad of gems. This approach uses three specific gem configurations to act as a lab manager, a cloud architect, and a video content producer. So here are the improvement options to achieve this objective. So the first one I have just created now, which is where I brought this up, is create a system integration architect gem. And it says this is your primary gem for cross-breeding ideas. Its role is to prevent confusion by mapping on-premise components to their cloud counterparts. because what I'm doing now is I'm setting up my on-prem, where I have all the servers in my laptop, the virtual machines, of course. I upgraded my laptop to a Core i7, and a minimum of 16 gig of RAM is installed. I also installed 1 terabyte of SSD drive, so that I have enough space, and I have less latency, because with SSD you have no moving parts and it's likely to be faster. So these are some of the stuff I did to be able to implement this lab infrastructure. Also, I'm using the Windows evaluation kit, which comes with virtual machines, and also in those virtual machines you have the SCCM server. You could implement Active Directory and all those stuff which you see as you go along the line. And because we are also trying to implement the cloud infrastructure too, which will include the Azure Autopilot, Windows Intune, for us to get an OOB experience, out of the box experience, and all of that. So these are the things we are putting together. So for this first gem that I'm creating, says this is your primary gem for cross-breeding ideas. Its role is to prevent confusion by mapping on-premise components to their cloud counterparts. The prompt instruction. So you are a senior. I'm not assuming that you are telling the gem what its role is in order for it to help you to get to what you want to do. So you are a senior system architect. Your goal is to help me compare on-premise infrastructure. My on-premise infrastructure includes SCCM, Active Directory, and physical networking. So it's comparing this on-premise infrastructure with multi-cloud solutions, because now I'm implementing Azure, AWS, and Google Cloud Platform. So when I provide a lab update, create a parallel mapping table that shows the on-premise step and its exact cloud equivalent. So for example, SCCM, which is for configuration management, for automatically provisioning systems on premise. For example, you have the golden image in the SCCM that it pushes to the system to install, right? So the cloud version is the Intune and the Azure Autopilot. So each time I perform any of those activity of maybe I'm trying to push a golden image to a bare metal, and I wanted to compare to when I have an out of the box experience with a system maybe just purchased and then connected online, and it's automatically configured for the staff to work. In this way, we would have demonstrated the capability of working in an on-premise environment, where if there's an establishment, a company that hires me to work with them, so I'll be able to demonstrate my capability as per handling even the on-premises, which is what used to be, and then onward to cloud. So wherever they are in the journey of their IT life cycle, they probably will be at the point of cloud migration. They may also want to retain some legacy systems. So whatever be the case, this experiment or what I'm demonstrating here will show my capability to be able to handle any such situation. So I'm using this to guide myself in this project so that I have clarity, because I use AI to guide what I do also, and so it doesn't get muddled up in the the multitude of information. So not to derail from where I'm coming from, of course this is also a learning experience in delivering tech videos too. My OBS, I'm actually using it sort of first time to do this, so I'm testing the camera, the blurred background, so that subsequently I'm able to produce videos easier than this. But however, there has to be a starting point, so everything has to start from somewhere. This is not my first time of doing video anyway, but to this level and handling this magnitude of stuff, which will not only be for, it's not for fun alone, but it's also for seriousness. So so that's it. So I want, so the part of what the prompt says is to make that gem, to help me to make comparison between what I have on premises, which includes the configuration manager, Active Directory, and the physical networking with the cloud solutions. And then say I like the differences in latency, cost, and management overhead. So it's going to be an interesting one because it's eventually will simplify the whole workflow, the whole life cycle, uh, which may look awkward if it's not well analyzed. But with this kind of analysis, it's going to help us to see the evolution from the premises to the cloud, because actually it's an evolution and it's just a replication of things in the physical to the cloud. Okay, and since that's the trend generally for everything, because for example, even the in the transport space where Uber is the leader, what it has done is to kind of make transportation cloud again. All right, because yeah, either though we used to uh, hail a taxi and then get in and make your payment, but now everything has gone on cloud and you could just turn it on the app and then book your ride. Okay, so you don't need to have a car, and you can rent a car, so to say. You can take a portion of a car, which is exactly what we are doing with uh, cloud infrastructure for IT too. Either though if you want to get anything done, you need to buy a computer, and if it's going to be a company, you probably buy a set of servers for your IT room, and then configure those servers, maintain them, cool them, and all sorts of. But nowadays, you are renting infrastructure with people who have the money, companies that are able to put together this infrastructure in a big way, and then give you a slice of it, which is the rental aspect. So that's what we are actually doing here right now. So what are those other things that will benefit us? It's improvement benefit. Now, what will we get from this experiment or this endeavor, which is creating a gem, system integration architect gem, to help us make comparison and highlight differences? It will help, especially me that is doing this now. It says it helps build your fluency by forcing you to speak both languages simultaneously without mixing up the technical configuration. You take note of that. So I'm trying to take advantage of the fact that I'm doing this experiment right now in order to bridge a gap. Okay, being in IT for so long and having a gap in between, about 10-15 years gap, and you want to bridge that gap now, you need to be able to relate what you know to what you are now learning, and then you become an authority in it by the time you are through, because like I said, it builds your fluency by forcing you to speak both languages. So as I'm building those infrastructure now, I'll be talking about the configuration manager on premises, how I make the golden image, which is the virtualization of maybe a laptop that we use as a typical representation of how the laptops will be given to our clients will look like. So if those the new staff are going to have like a uniform type of setting for their laptops, so the first laptop done will be so installed that most of what each staff will need, which will be representative of what each staff will be using, is configured on a particular system or laptop in this case. So after we have configured the laptop fully, what we now do is to virtualize the system, which is to turn the physical machine into a software, sort of. So we keep a copy of that software, which is the virtualization of the laptop, in order to be able to take it to another fresh laptop and then return it to that laptop by imprinting, as it were, that image back on that laptop. So by the end of the process, a blank bare metal laptop will now be a replica of the initial laptop from which we virtualized that image. Okay, so that's exactly what we want to do. We'll virtualize an already prepared laptop, a laptop that we have installed and put all the drivers, the utilities, the applications like Microsoft 365, and if you have some legacy applications that you really want to use, you still put all of them there. The major reason and essence of this is that by the time you put, by the time you have done this, it will be do once, use many times. Because before this time, what we used to do as IT persons or IT support is each time you have a new staff, we get we order for their laptops, is delivered to the IT. IT starts their work from there, unbox, install the OS, operating system, because sometimes it may come with maybe Microsoft Windows 10 Home, and the Home will not work with a domain controller. Okay, so in which case we would need to wipe it off. Okay, so when we do that, we install our licensed copy of the Microsoft 10, all right, and then install all the needed software, and then join it to the domain if needed, and then take it to the staff, the end user. Now it has the laptop. But what has gone into making that laptop ready? It could take us a day or two sometimes, or even more, for us to get it prepared. So assuming there's a staff who is ready to work, but the tools is going to use is not ready. Okay, so but with time, as things improve, we use technology to bridge the gap, to beat the time, to save time. And for historical records, these are things I've done in 2010, back in 2010, in the days of Disk Wizard. At that time, we had Norton Ghost, we had Disk Wizard. So at the time, in the place where I was working, in a multinational, back in Nigeria, I was the IT support guy there. So after running around for a few times and I discovered the Disk Wizard, what I used to do eventually was I just installed, because we have a mixture of desktops and laptops. So the desktop, one of the desktop that I did at the time, I just thought of it. I cloned that desktop and kept that hard drive with me. So at the time we were using, of course, Seagate is a very popular hard drive brand. We have Western Digital too and some others, but Seagate is the main. So Seagate has that Disk Wizard, but I think it works for other drives too. So at the time when I discovered that, I just simply did what? I installed the Disk Wizard after completing the whole setup, installing all the software, the proprietary software, the ones the company needs for them to get their job done. When it's complete, I just did a cloning of that hard drive and kept it on my desk. So the next time when we have a new staff and gets a new system, I simply take the disk that was cloned from my table, insert it into the new system, slave the hard drive for this new system now, and start the system. The system runs on the cloned hard drive that I just brought from my desk, and there's a photocopy of that hard drive, so to say, from my clone drive that I inserted into this new system to the hard drive that belongs to this new system. In under 30 minutes, everything on the cloned hard drive goes to this new system drive, and I switch off and remove the cloned hard drive, keep it back on my desk, and then make this drive the primary again on this new desktop, and then just start it. Once you started, then the systems start working. You will not see any difference most times, because if the hardware are exactly the same, it will not notice anything. Perhaps there are maybe a few differences in chipset. Yeah, it will just do that, and then that's done. So a job that could take us a day or two is done under 30 minutes. So that's where I started from. So when you clone to your disk with the disk wizard to your new hard drive, eventually we were able to virtualize it rather than use a physical hard disk that I keep on my table. I could now use a software to virtualize it as a software too. So instead of keeping the physical hard drive on my table, I keep the image, which we now call golden image, in a flash drive or whatever media transfer device that we have. So that subsequently, instead of now using physical disk and adding it to the system before you make the cloning and removing it back, in which case you have to open up the system as it were. The software option makes you to just do the job without having to open up the system, because now you can boot from the flash drive, make a bootable drive, and then put the image, and then you clone it back to the new system. That's a bare metal installation we are talking about. So those are the kind of things we will demonstrate in this experiment, in this series that we are going into. I'll be showing you a lot of other stuff along the line, things I've known from the past, things are currently going on, and also perhaps help you handle some of the issues that you may have with your systems along the line. But that's just the brief of why we are going through a lot of this. So now, that was in the past, okay, because that one still involved us touching the system. So nowadays, the new thing is, before the laptop will be delivered to the IT department, and the IT will fix the laptop and then send it to the end user, which takes time. But today, as at now, what usually obtained is that the laptops that are ordered could be delivered directly to the end user. Perhaps because of the evolution through the COVID-19 situation that prompted the work from home to become popular. So at that time, when we could not see each other, if there was a way to just deliver the laptop to the end user, if perhaps we could configure it remotely, and that's what gave birth to this Windows Intune and Autopilot setup, where we are able to remotely configure systems. And those are the things we'll be demonstrating in this experiment. So now let me continue with this. So it says improvement benefit: it builds your fluency by forcing you to speak both languages simultaneously without mixing up the technical configuration. So I speak a language of those time very fluently. I'm already speaking the language of the cloud too, but I want to be able to blend it such that I speak it freely. When you say fluency, it's like somebody who is able to speak English and change to French in an instant, almost unnoticeably. You are talking to somebody in English and then suddenly you see a French national, or even maybe you discover the person could also speak French and you want to show your skill too. You begin to speak in French. You see the fluency, the ability for you to change from one language to the other is what we are talking about here, so that it's not a forced conversation. For example, if I did not learn cloud, there's no way I can speak the language of the cloud, okay? And this is why most IT guys are also beginning to learn cloud. And really, if you don't learn the cloud, you cannot really land any good job nowadays in IT. So it makes it mandatory that you have to force yourself to do it, whatever be the case. So, and that's what exactly we are doing, is that fluency that I want to force to be able to speak. So, and the difference is that if I were just reading, watching videos about AWS, about Azure, about all of this, without actually trying them out, okay, it may not add up. Some people may be able to do it and escape. Yeah, they could just watch it and be able to defend it in interviews and all the rest. But me, I'm not really that kind of person. I like to feel and touch. And when I fully understand, you will really know that I've understood it. So, and that's why I'm also demonstrating this as it is.